On today's show,
we debate whether Dwayne Wade was fouled on the Heat's last chance to tie the Hornets.
do the Clippers have a shot versus the Blazers? And what happens to the Rockets now?
And we celebrate Take Your Kid to Work Day by counting down the best NBA Little One moments.
It's Thursday, April 28th. The starter starts now.
Good evening, sweet world, and welcome to The Starters. Whether you're listening to the podcast or joining us live on NBA TV or a little bit later on YouTube, we're happy to have you. I'm J.E. Skeets, and alongside me, as always, that's Tass Mellis.
Happy playoffs to you.
To his right, to my right as well, it's the International Man of Mystery taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friend.
Lily, and last, certainly not least, over there, Starters blog editor in a very cool shirt, Trey Kirby.
Hey-o!
Hey-o! TK, what do you got for us?
Well, I'm here at the internet looking for your best tweets at #TheStarters. And last night, in the final minute of the Hornets' big Game 5 win, Courtney Lee grabbed another huge offensive rebound and then knocked in the three that eventually gave the Hornets the victory. When he was asked about these big plays afterwards, his answer surprised some people.
Not your best shooting night, but when you needed that three, you got it. Tell me your approach heading into that bucket.
First of all, I just want to say thank you, Jesus. Glory be to God. I had a massage yesterday, and we pretty much do Bible study in a massage session.
Hey, if Bible study and a massage is what works, then go for it. I'm not one to judge, but it does bring us to today's question. What are some other surprising pregame rituals? For instance, did you know that Klay Thompson, before every playoff game, gets a pedicure, and then he finds a quiet place in the Warriors locker room and reads an entire Harry Potter novel? He finished The Order of the Phoenix last night. That's a classic. Dumbledore's Army and Sirius Black. Wow, exciting stuff. But we want to hear from you. Send us some other surprising player rituals at #TheStarters, and we'll see them a little bit later.
All right, get your tweets in. Fun show tonight. We've got a brand new edition of the meme team. And we're going to celebrate Take Your Kid to Work Day. Not by bringing in any of our kids, but looking at a few of our favorite moments with NBA players and their children. But first, we're going to play a little Is This News? It's simple. Trey rounded up some recent playoff headlines. He pitches them to us, and we debate whether or not they're actually news. So Trey, what's our first headline?
Our first headline comes from the Miami New Times, and it reads, "A blatant no call robbed Dwayne Wade and the Miami Heat of Game 5. Is this news?
I wouldn't go that far. But it was the wrong call. Even though the NBA came out today and said that it wasn't a foul, I do think that was a foul. I think Cody Zeller jumping from one spot to another spot isn't legal. Yeah, you can jump up and you can absorb contact, but look where he comes from to hit Wade. There's obviously a lot of body contact there, but the league says he jumped vertically. I mean, he jumped a few feet, and if he didn't foul him, then Courtney Lee's slash to the arm after the block, if you really slow it down, you see that he got hit. I'm not saying this is where the Miami Heat lost the game, because this is not where they lost the game. Last few minutes, they were very, very bad, and they were lucky to get that ball because Goran Dragic was blocked, but I do think that was a foul either way.
I agree with Tass here. I actually think the league is wrong here. I think that's a foul as well. That all said, I have a tough time getting too worked up about the no call when you consider who it is. Dwayne Wade, come on. 2006
That guy never
finals.
gets calls, man.
Yeah,
never.
Honestly here. And even in the game, whether or not he even had the goaltending that he got away with. Now, did he touch the ball? The league says he also didn't touch the ball. But it's just a couple reasons why I can't get too worked up about it. That's one. It is Dwayne Wade. Remember the 2006 finals? He really is the last person that should be complaining about it, blaming it. Also, he's no Mark Price when it comes to the free throw line. This would not have maybe won the game. He would have had to hit 2 free throws. He's not a brutal free throw shooter, but that could have come into play as well. And finally, like you said, Tass, they should have never been in that position. The Hornets outplayed them in the final 3 or 4 minutes out the game. That's why they won, not because of this no call, right call, whatever you want to call it.
Disagree with both you guys. When I first saw it, and in real time, I thought it was a foul. But having watched several replays and reading the NBA's description of it, I actually agree with them. They say Zeller comes towards Wade from across the restricted area, planting his foot, jumping vertically to defend Wade's shot. Zeller absorbs contact when it occurs, while his arms are not completely vertical. Multiple angles confirm they did not contact Wade. I'm fine with that. No, but listen, I'm not finished here. Just because there's contact doesn't mean there's a foul. And he goes in there. Wade is going in there to draw the contact. He's the one initiating the contact, and he goes into Zeller's body. And that's how he can absorb the contact. And then Courtney Lee as well, he made contact with the ball during Wade's upward shooting motion, which makes subsequent minor arm contact with Wade incidental. Lee then makes contact with Wade's arm again about...
God, you're killing me here, Ellis.
This is the right description. If you look again at all those angles, you see that is the right call that was made, the right non-call.
I think Zeller didn't jump vertically,
That's
though,
exactly
as
right.
was written there. Zeller jumped from one spot to another spot. You have to actually jump vertically, and you can absorb contact, and that's
And go
entirely
backwards.
fine.
And go backwards.
But
yeah.
you got to think of it like a spaceship. Like a spaceship is beaming you up.
How can you tell us he doesn't go across?
You can't leave that spaceship beam. You can't. And he is
stay on that
escaping
beam.
that spaceship beam. Cody is not going to space. That sucks for you, Cody, because you jumped out of that spaceship.
Wade's also moving though towards to create the contact. I think the NBA has got this right. I think the NBA officials have come out and made the right non-call. I agree with them on
I
this.
think because it was sort of a weird broken play because of the block in the corner that helped the no-call decision.
Yeah.
Because it was sort of madness going on there where Wade suddenly grabs this tipped ball that got blocked, turns around, he's going to the rim. I think that sort of helped the idea to like swallow the whistles in this situation. But again, that's not why really the Heat lost this game.
No, they had bad offense down the stretch. The last 4 possessions, that was the last one of them there. You had 2 very, very contested threes at the end of shot clocks did not go down. 4 possessions here. This is game 5. You got to take care of business. They also had this very bad turnover. Luol just loses the ball there. Josh Richardson put in a bad spot twice here. This is 4 seconds on the shot clock, 3, letting a bad shot go. And then the last shot where Goran Dragic was blocked in the corner after a heck of a lot of dribbling. Dwayne Wade was lucky again to get a shot off. Foul or no foul, this team didn't execute down the stretch. I do think Dwayne Wade goaltended the other way. Whether he touched the ball, he hammered that glass when Courtney Lee threw it up.
Tough.
Not legal. Either way, the Heat didn't take care of business, and the Hornets, Courtney Lee's incredible offensive rebounding, I think, is going to be the story of this series if the Hornets pull it out. He's done it game in and game out. They've wanted it a bit more. Their offense has looked a little bit better, and their defense looks great.
That was the key possession. Courtney Lee got it and then stepped back and knocked down the 3.
It's a great game.
Yeah, it was
great
a fun game.
As you can tell, we're pretty fired up about it. All right, Trey, next headline.
Our next headline comes from ESPN, and it reads, Harden, Howard, and Rockets face uncertainty. Is this news?
This was not a great game.
Nope!
I mean, this isn't news because this has been the story with the Rockets all season long. Since the start of the regular season, in fact, when they got killed in their first 3 games. All I kept watching or thinking about when I was watching the Rockets last night lay over and completely die, let's call it like it is why did they even care to make the playoffs if they were going to do this? The only reasonable thing I can come up with is they wanted that little playoff bonus money, the $300,000 or whatever the team gets to split between everyone. There was no fight all series long from this team, Tess? None.
I think they're at about an 80% fight level. It's not 100%, but they do go out there and they do play a little bit of basketball. They do try a little bit. I think I think what we failed to see was a Golden State Warriors team that is very, very, very. This team won 73 games, and that obviously there's a drastic difference between these 2 teams.
Yeah, but they lost 3 of the 4 games that they ended up losing in this series by 26 or more. The Warriors are amazing with or without Curry. I'm agreeing with you, but our team within the playoffs, I'll tell you this, if that was the Utah Jazz, they're not losing 3 games by 25 plus points.
No.
That's just
If
the way
Steph
it is.
Curry's
They'd
not
actually
there,
put
yeah.
up a bit of a fight.
Yeah.
It's
Look,
crazy.
On paper, I think the blueprint for this team is right. You've got a dominant guard in James Harden. You've got a dominant, somewhat big in Dwight Howard.
But they hate each other.
I know. But then you've got dotted around the perimeter. You've got guys who can shoot, like Trevor Ariza and Patrick Beverley. They can knock in those threes. This is how a team is good to be built. But this didn't work because I think James Harden, brilliant offensive player, and Charles Barkley alluded to this on TNT last night, he just doesn't lead and doesn't get those other guys involved like other superstars do. That's the biggest thing he has to learn.
That was the last time we've seen Dwight Howard in a Rockets uniform. Everyone agree with that?
Yeah,
100%.
He opts out of his final $23 million deal there and tests the market. Yeah.
James Harden has lost his big guy, and this team is going to look different. And I think James Harden will come in a heck of a lot more motivated next year, I should say, because this year just fell by the wayside because he wasn't ready at the beginning of the season. Didn't play as hard as he should. And guys like Dwight Howard, he's the one who gets killed in the media. But guys like Trevor Ariza and Patrick Beverley, who are incredible defenders, who you would love to have around James Harden, didn't have great seasons around James Harden. This team should not be 20th in defense. With those guys alongside James Harden, nowhere near 20th in defense.
And I think a lot of that is because early on those guys don't feel involved in the offense. There's a lot of dribbling. There's a lot of James Harden pulling back, shooting those jump shots. He needs to get those guys involved. Watch Steph and watch Chris Paul, how they get other guys involved.
Yeah, he just needs to look at it as more of a team next year and not just himself.
Crazy to think. 2 years ago, they win 54 games, the Rockets. Last year, they're in the Western Conference Finals.
3 of the 4 years with James Harden in Houston, they've been bounced in the first round, though. And they made it last year. Somehow they beat a Dallas team that was very, very injured. Then they got the Clippers in that scenario, and then they got swamped by the Warriors.
Rockets, finally done. We can stop talking about the Rockets for a little bit. Trey, time for one more headline.
James Harden MVP next season. You heard it here first. But our final headline comes from SI.com, and it reads, Role reversal. Blazers win Game 5 as Clippers left hoping for a miracle. Is this news?
Nah, I want to talk about the Rockets some more. This is over, I think. I think the Blazers just look like the better team.
I think I'd like to commend the Clippers for putting up a fight, unlike the Rockets did, and actually tried as hard as they could there in the first half. They were up 5 at the half. They played hard. They just completely ran out of gas in this game because they don't have the bodies to compete with when McCollum and Lillard got going in the second half. That's what happened to me, and they're not going to win in Game 6 in Portland. I don't think.
Portland's got a very strong home crowd as well, and they've won the first 2 games anyway when Chris Paul played 1.5 of those games and Blake the same. So, yeah, it's very tough to see the Clippers. They're into their bench when they have their starting unit out there, and a lot of those guys are also injured as well. But, Austin Rivers as well, he came out, he was determined to show last night that, hey, I'm going to do my best, and they did, but
they put up a fight, like I said. Joel Crawford, though, had played like 22 minutes in the first half. I mean, we think of him as a 20-year-old, but he's not. That's going to catch up to you, especially at the end of a season.
Look, it took a very special performance from Lillard in that fourth quarter just to seal it. So the Clippers can at least hang their hat on the fact that they did try hard and they put up a fight.
They've gotten better as the series has gone on. They look extremely comfortable. Every single one of their players is comfortable. They're not losing it again.
All right, got to take a break. Lots more still to come on tonight's edition of The Starters. When we return, you'll applaud this week's brand new edition of the Meme Team. At least we hope so. Welcome back to The Starters. Every Thursday, we scour the internet to bring you the Meme Team, our favorite weird and wacky moments from the past 7 days in the NBA universe.
Let's talk Rockets at number 5, late in Game 4. Rockets were getting blown out. James Harden was seen lying down. Oh, we know he's been the butt of a lot of jokes. Here he is in a bed of flowers.
Looks stumpy.
It's beautiful. He's also a spokesman for a bed company. I like this one. That one was really, really well done. And of course, you gotta go with the crying MJ face. The beard on the crying MJ, pretty good.
Wow, you can almost, not even see it there. At number 4, though, the Sacramento Kings unveiled some new logos this past week. Looking good there. And to celebrate the big news, the Kings offered to pay for fans to get a tattoo featuring any of the new logos. A lot of people took them up on the offer because people love free. I don't understand what the big deal is, though. We've been doing this for a while. We had these years ago. Trey with the giant Bulls tattoo. Tass and I, of course, repping the Raps with some bicep and chest ink.
Nice.
Because we're hard like that. And Lee, of course, has the very sexy Ginobili tat on his lower back. Love showing it off to people.
Looks great in swimsuit season.
Oh, yeah.
Number 3, more tattoos. Nick Young got one this week, but there was almost a huge mishap. That's when his fiancée, Iggy Azalea, came to the rescue. She tweeted, "Guys, I want to let you know Nick can't spell, and if it wasn't for the love I have for him, Born Rebel would be spelled R-E-B-L-E across his back. She came in halfway through his tattoo and noticed it. It looked different than the way she remembered it, she said. Luckily, it wasn't done. It's going to be B-E-L. Oh, thank you, Iggy.
Wow. At number 2, a couple Drizzy Drake moments from Game 5 in Toronto. Yeah, there he is. Getting right up in Rodney stuck his ear, clapping like a madman. The guy in the cowboy hat, too.
Yeah, Cowboys in Toronto.
And then after the game, he disses Paul George on Instagram, posting the pic of PG crying with the caption, 3-2, I knew you were scared.
Oh, no.
And then he deletes it. Come on.
No, that's not
good.
right. Charlie Villanueva got into Russell Westbrook's dance routine, maybe trying to get into his head. Didn't work. Maybe Mark Cuban was trying to get into his head because he said Russ wasn't a superstar, and KD let people know what he thought of Cuban post-game.
Were you aware of Mark Cuban's comments before the game when he said Kevin was the only superstar on this team, and how do you react to that?
Hold up. He's an idiot. Don't listen to this. He's an idiot. All right, that's what we got to say about that. He's an idiot. Next question.
Before the game, you were out waiting for the opening tip. Charlie Villanueva came out and sort of lingered behind you for a second. Did you know he was back there, and did he say anything, or what was going through your mind?
He said a lot.
He's
was
an
there,
idiot too.
but now he get to go home and, do whatever he need to do, get ready for next year to sit down and watch 82 more games like he did this year.
Might not even be in the league.
Throwing some darts. KD defending his teammate. You gotta love that. I don't know what bathing ape means though. On the hat?
That's a brand.
Okay.
When we return, we'll celebrate Take Your Kid to Work Day by counting down a few of our favorite NBA tykes. Crashing the pressers.
Ain't rocking vapes, Tassie?
Back in the starters, we asked you guys, what are some other surprising NBA pregame rituals that you know of? And to hit us up on Twitter, hashtag the starters. Trey, you got a few of the best answers.
Yeah, Doug Schomer said he heard that Russell Westbrook starts game day watching Tron 2 on Blu-ray, then biting the heads off all the hippos in a box of animal crackers. Seems logical. Statline says he heard Kyle Korver plays Duck Hunt while wearing a monocle before every game, which would explain why he's such a sharp shooter. And Joe says Pau Gasol attends an opera before every game. If one's not available to go to, he settles for an art museum. Very cultured.
All right, keep your tweets coming, guys. Well, seeing as today is Take Your Kid to Work Day, we thought we'd celebrate by looking at a few of our favorite moments of NBA players bringing their little ones along for the ride. So here it is, our top 5 NBA Take Your Kid to Work Day moments.
At number 5, Tim Duncan's kids were asked what they thought of their daddy's performance.
Do it.
I think he.
Huh?
What was it
He
again?
said, what do you think of your dad tonight?
I think he did awesome and he tried his best.
And what else? What else? Say something nice about me.
I like his hat.
I like his hat.
It's a nice hat.
Big sis saving the day with the advice. Saving Tim's day here as well this season. Going way up in the ear to grab something from Tim's ear.
Yeah, but then wipes it right back on him anyway. So.
They're getting washed.
Yeah, some staffers got to wash those anyways.
At number 4, it's a couple years old now, but who can forget little Chris's spot-on Blake impersonation?
He made the Blake face.
Look that way and do the Blake face.
Blake face.
That really is the Kent Bazemore gaze.
Yeah. That's the Baze gaze.
Yeah, he started it. He created it. Way to go, little Chris.
At number 3, TJ Kidd and Jason Kidd. Hey, Dad, let's get that 3-point shot together.
I like
Dad.
how he looks right at the camera while he's doing it.
TJ.
Hey, Chris Paul's kid wouldn't want to do that to his dad.
You don't touch Chris Paul's head.
This is way in the early 2000s. Then Jason Kidd goes flying into his son. The dangers of taking your kid to work day.
That's true.
He's all right.
Yeah, he's fine. We see him at Summer League. Looks great.
Yeah.
Looks exactly like Jason Kidd.
At number 2, from TJ to PJ, Derrick Rose's son, PJ Rose, taking over a 2015 podium game moment for D-Rose with some of the best facial expressions we've ever seen.
Just doing
on
some
the
lip
podium.
work.
And because the internet's the internet, they had to ruin everything, swapping heads, or making it better. I guess you can
Too
argue.
good, that one.
And D-Rose, game winner. Yeah, get PJ's crazy look on there.
At number 1, you know who it is, a celebrity herself, Riley Curley. Take it away, Riley.
We're both supposed to,
That's too loud, Dad.
I know. Hold on 1 second, okay?
Be quiet.
Not how we envisioned the game going, but not first game jitters. Just you play 6 games against a team that has a certain style.
Doctor second chance. How do you feel like that?
I feel best.
You wanted to say that.
I hope we get more of her. Listen, she helps out Steph. This pregame routine, she's got it down pat. And postgame, she celebrates with Grandma Sonia kicking up those feet.
That's awesome.
Superstar, no doubt. Gotta take one more break. When we come back, Lili's son will give us our very solid, no, Jess Lee, with a very solid play. Don't go anywhere. Back with the starters, time for Lili's very solid play. Lee.
We're going to the Roracle for a beautiful play here from the Warriors. Bogey gets it started over to Clay, to Draymond, to Sean Livingston, who just finishes it nicely. That's what I like, good, solid passing. And then he just drops it in. That's what I call a very solid play.
Can't argue that.
Yep.
No.
Good.
That was very solid. Now it's time for the highlight that wasn't. Just because a play wasn't converted doesn't mean we're not going to show it to you.
Born Rebel.
Look at there he is. Born rebel. Dwayne Wade loses Courtney Lee. How much separation did he get here? Maybe that's why Dwayne was mad after the game.
Courtney gives up too. He doesn't try to save face.
Now, what are you going to do?
The shot.
That was the highlight that wasn't.
Great stuff. Guys, there's only one game on tonight. Yeah, it's not a typo. It's just the Hawks and the Celtics. Game 6. Atlanta trying to put away this series. They lead 3-2. It gets underway at 8 p.m. Eastern on TNT. There's Big Al Horford coming in to Boston right now.
Wearing green
shirt.
Checking
Interesting.
Yeah, he's not afraid of that. There's Isaiah Thomas. Good news, of course, with Isaiah. He is playing.
How many
tonight.
shoes is he wearing,
He must
though?
have 4 feet.
I don't know. He tweaked his ankle in Game 5. He is going to give it a go in Game 6. So I'll ask you guys this. Are we going to have a Game 7? Can the Celtics force Game 7 and pick up the win tonight?
You better believe it. I think we're going to Game 7. The Hawks struggled to put 4 good quarters together, and I think the Celtics at home are going to take advantage of that. They're not going to let up, backs against the wall.
Yeah, I totally agree with Tess. The Celtics were so much better when they played 3 and 4 in Boston, whereas the Hawks, throughout the series, they've been better and kind of basically the same in Atlanta. So I think the home team's taking it. We're going to Game 7, baby.
I think Atlanta's going to be kicking themselves after they had that big lead in Game 4 and couldn't close it out. But that's the thing with Boston. Once they get a run on, especially at home, they are very, very hard to beat. Guys like Jerebko was big, Evan Turner was big, and Isaiah Thomas, of course, he was big.
They've played better for sure
Yeah.
in Boston. That said, though, the Celtics have led something like 4 of these 5 games by a minimum of 16 points.
Yeah.
They've gotten up in almost every game. It could happen again tonight. I actually think the Hawks will end this tonight. I think we'll get a really good Hawks performance. I think the Celtics are obviously going to put up a fight because their fans are always going to make sure they're still in a game or get back in a game. But in the end, I'll say the Hawks close this out tonight.
Are you just being stubborn because you picked the Hawks in 6
That's
pre-season?
right.
Hey, I picked
You might
Hawks in
change my
7 also.
prediction?
You got to change it.
No.
The Hawks have got to make up to Paul Millsap what happened in Game 4 there, where Paul Millsap had that huge game, 45 points, dominated. It was all over the place, and they blew it at the end there.
And I should point out, Isaiah Thomas is playing, but
Yeah.
we don't know how well he'll play because of the tweaked ankle. I mean, something could happen. He could re-injure it right away, and that'll obviously change the Celtics' fortune because so much of their offense starts with this guy, the smallest guy on the floor, in terms of scoring and just setting up guys as well. So keep an eye on the ankle, especially early on in this game.
Yeah, but I buy into role players playing better when I watch this Boston Celtics team at home, I should say, because they just look like different players at home.
We will see. Will we get at least our first Game 7 of the first round? Boston has to win. Tomorrow morning, guys, the Drop Podcast, we'll start previewing some of the second round series, including the Thunder Spurs, and maybe we'll start talking about the Cavs and the Hawks. We'll find out. Back tomorrow night.
Thanks for joining us, folks. And remember, when life gives you lemons, you make an hour-long music video. Another Beyonce quote.
Race the night, people.